Julian Blake had always been in love with the night sky. From the age of 8, he would sneak out with a flashlight and a tattered notebook, mapping constellations with a child's wonder and a scientist's curiosity. His room was a museum of space, posters of Saturn, books on quantum physics, and his prized possession, a telescope he named Eleanor. As he grew older, that passion only intensified, leading him to a PhD in astrophysics and a one-way ambition: NASA. But fate had a cruel sense of irony. After spending years preparing for the ultimate dream, sleepless nights, unpaid research, and peer-reviewed publications, Julian was rejected. Not once, but multiple times. "We regret to inform you," became a line etched into his soul. The rejection wasn't just professional, it was personal. It was as if the universe itself, which he adored so faithfully, had turned its back on him. Days turned into bitter loops. He spent his nights watching galaxies through Eleanor, not with awe, but with emptiness. "What's the point?" he muttered to himself one night, staring at the Andromeda galaxy. The vastness mocked him. For all his knowledge of space, he couldn't find meaning. "Billions of stars, and yet I feel like nothing." Then, at 3:12 a.m. one sleepless night, Julian typed something strange into his browser. Religious views on the creation of the universe. He wasn't religious. In fact, he had long claimed to be agnostic, borderline atheist. But something inside him had cracked. He didn't want data anymore. He wanted answers. That's when he found the verse, Surah Ad-Dariyat 51:47. "And the heavens we constructed with strength, and indeed, we are its expander." Julian blinked. Expander? As in, expanding universe? He refreshed the page, read it again. Suddenly, the stars above didn't look so empty anymore. Julian's curiosity spiraled. That one verse sent him down a rabbit hole he hadn't expected. Not into theories of string or multiverse, but into the world of Islam. He began reading translations of the Koran, expecting to find archaic metaphors or unverifiable claims. Instead, what he found felt eerily aligned with what he knew as a scientist. The verses weren't just poetic, they were precise. The sun runs on its fixed course. We created every living thing from water. The night and day merge. How could these ideas exist in a 7th century text, he wondered, centuries before telescopes or space probes? He wasn't ready to believe, but he couldn't look away either. He started taking notes. Quranic ayahs on the cosmos now filled the same notebook where he once scribbled orbital paths. His disbelief began to shift, not into blind faith, but into genuine wonder. Either this is the greatest coincidence in human history, he said to himself, or someone really knew what they were talking about. It was then that he began emailing scholars. He reached out to an imam in Chicago with a subject line that read, "Serious scientist, serious questions. No preaching, please." To his surprise, the imam replied warmly, not with dogma, but with dialogue. They spoke about logic, linguistics, purpose. The Quran, the imam explained, doesn't compete with science. It completes it. That night, Julian fell asleep with a Quran translation on his chest. He dreamt of a galaxy, not cold and dark, but glowing with golden Arabic calligraphy. In the center, a voice whispered a word he didn't recognize but felt deep in his bones: kun fayakun, be, and it is. The following weeks became a double life. By day, Julian continued teaching astrophysics at a local university, respected by students and admired for his methodical mind. By night, he pored over tafsir, Islamic exegesis, with the same intensity he once reserved for black hole equations. The Quran wasn't replacing science, it was revealing what science couldn't reach. Julian wasn't ready to convert. He wasn't even sure what he believed. But something was changing. His anger toward the universe was softening into curiosity. He began to pray, awkwardly at first, copying words from YouTube videos of Mufti Menk and Numan Ali Khan. Sometimes he didn't understand the meaning, but the act itself grounded him. It felt like orbit. He also began to test Islam logically. If this really is the word of God, he told himself, then it has to hold up under scrutiny. And yet, the more he tried to pick holes, The more he found patterns, structure, depth. The linguistic miracles stunned him. The mathematical symmetry between verses. The structure of Surah al-Baqarah like a perfect mirror. One morning, he opened the Koran and read the verse. Indeed, in the creation of the heavens and the earth and the alternation of the night and day are signs for those of understanding. 3:190. He sat there for almost an hour, rereading it like it was written for him. Maybe it was. And then came the moment he couldn't deny anymore. He believed, not just in a creator, but in the message, in the book. And slowly, he began to believe in himself again too. Julian's decision to take his shahada, the testimony of faith, didn't come easily. Islam? Are you serious? His best friend said, eyebrows raised. His sister stopped calling for a week. Even some of his colleagues at the university looked at him like he had joined a cult. You're too smart for this, one of them whispered in passing. But truth isn't always popular, and belief isn't always easy. Julian wrestled with his identity. Am I betraying science? He asked the Imam one day. The Imam smiled and answered gently, Brother, science is the study of creation. Islam is the study of its creator. On a calm Friday afternoon, in a small masjid in Seattle, filled with the scent of oud and worn prayer rugs, Julian stood before a congregation of strangers and declared, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah. His voice cracked, his eyes welled. The gravity of that moment pulled everything into alignment. He walked out of that masjid not lighter, but freer. The universe hadn't changed. The stars were still stars. But now, they were signs. Every spiral galaxy, every flicker of light millions of years away, they all whispered the same truth, La ilaha illallah. Julian never did get a job at NASA, but life had taken him on a different kind of journey, one that required no spacecraft, only sincerity. He published a book a year later, Cosmic Faith, the Koran through a physicist's lens. It was a sleeper hit, landing him podcast interviews, public lectures, even a TEDx talk. In that talk, he shared his story, the rejection, the verse, the discovery, and the moment he realized that science had taught him the mechanics of the universe, but the Quran had taught him its meaning. He ended his talk with words that would echo across social media for weeks. I spent my life trying to get closer to the stars, but through the Quran, I found the one who created them. Julian now leads a small study group for Muslim converts, many of them scientists, skeptics, or seekers like he once was. He teaches them that faith isn't the enemy of reason, it's its highest form. His telescope, Eleanor, still sits by his window. He uses it often, not just to see the stars, but to reflect on the verses etched into the fabric of the sky. When asked if he regrets not working at NASA, he always smiles and replies, NASA studies the universe, I met the author. And somewhere in the vastness of space, among the spinning galaxies and unseen wonders, Julian now sees not chaos, but divine order, not randomness, but revelation.